Do you remember what it was like to play Duke Nukem, Doom, Wolfenstein, all those games that just take you back to your childhood, or maybe you played an emulator because you're not that old?
I do.
Enter Compound, and I think you're gonna love it. Hey guys, I'm CryptoSpook.
And this is Moriarty, and this really, really reminds me of the art style of Wolfenstein and Doom, except for the enemies. They look way too new.
Yeah, they look very new. They're not at all a blocky mass of pixels that look alarmed at you.
This is pretty cool, though.
It's not only cool, it's incredibly hard! Wow, is this game hard! On the medium difficulty, you will be brutally punished. The enemies will not mess about. They will come to murder you. It's basically just a first-person shooter game where you are the first person. So, I mean, is that first person or what?
I don't know. I mean, when you say first-person shooter game in VR, it just kind of sounds like a game at that point, because they're all first person, aren't they?
Yeah, this is an in-person shooter.
Like, by nature, isn't the VR game automatically going to be first person?
I suppose so. I mean, but this is like, it's super first person. It's in person, but I guess it's the same thing. This is an in-person, first-person shooter.
It's an in-person shooter. What? You're gonna come to my house?
So it's a shooter. Oh god.
It looks super cool though. How's it play?
It plays so well, so unbelievably well for a free game made by one person in his spare time. Like, the amount of detail and the sound work and everything in this game just took me back to my childhood, and I absolutely loved it. I loved every minute. I was like yelling woohoo and having a good time, and to be fair, I had a better time before I played the patched version of the game. I played the previous version, and they did not have a cooldown system on the pistol, so you could just spray all willy-nilly with it and just have a good time, but unfortunately, they patched that, so now I think you get like 6 rapid shots before it goes into a cooldown mode where it kind of like locks open.
You know, Doom, they actually took out the reload in order to make the game as fast as possible. That was the two Johns. They were like, we have to make this game as fast as possible. And that's because the more time that you're spending doing slow things, the less time you're actually enjoying the game. Right? Take out your reload. I get if you think it makes it overpowered, just make things tougher. That's what you do in retro shooters like this. You just make it tougher.
The reload on the SMG, I actually thought was really neat. Like, you have to manually load a clip into it, then you push a button, and like the thing holding it looks like P90 ammo, just kind of like goes pling and goes flying off of it. It's a really cool noise for one, and it's fun to do for two.
That's definitely the sound that you get in World War I and II shooters.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. The ping of when you have an empty clip.
The Garand.
Yeah, the M1 Garand.
Well, I'm not French. I'm not going to say it like that.
Well, nobody asked you.
It's a Garand.
Whatever.
Because I'm not French like you.
Well, you are French. I think we can all agree to that. So, as long as the enemies are relatively far away, you can totally dodge their bullets. But when they're close, there's not nearly enough time for that to happen.
So the only thing I find myself asking is, with this SMG, does it have unlimited ammo, or, like, do you have to pick up ammo?
It absolutely does not. You have to pick them up. And the amount of fun I had playing with this game is just ridiculous. Like, I was literally yelling out loud, you know, with how much exhilaration I had playing the game.
I don't believe you.
I wish I would have been recording audio, because it was a blast.
I don't believe you can do a woo-hoo sound.
It was like in The Sims.
I saw a GIF of what it looks like when they woo-hoo underneath the covers. The guy had removed the covers from it, and it's disturbing and frightening.
Do they meld bodies? I imagine that's what happens.
No, but the legs go whichever way it takes to make it look like the sheets are doing their thing, right?
Oh, God.
You know, the bumpy, grindy thing, they just took the bodies and ignored physics and just kind of moved them around to make the sheets do these things. So you've got legs that are flying and going sideways and coming through bodies. It's very disconcerting.
That's very disconcerting. I don't think I would enjoy that kind of woohoo.
No. I saw that just the other day. It's weird that you would bring up The Sims all of a sudden, too.
I actually was not bringing up The Sims. Oh, no, I guess I did, didn't I?
You did. You brought up The Sims. I haven't thought of The Sims in so long. And just today, somebody got onto Twitter and started talking to me about The Sims for like an entire 20 or 30 message long thread of The Sims. And then today you're just like, by the way, The Sims, woohoo. And I saw that gift today. I need to play The Sims.
Sid Meier, man, he must have engaged his, universal mind control.
Right? Like, hey, by the way, get everyone to play The Sims again.
Yeah, we need to sell about 3 million copies before we go insolvent.
Well, it's EA. It's not going to go insolvent, but...
Oh, God, good point. Yeah, that's a shame.
Much more concerning is, I wonder if they just released, like, a new expansion pack or something.
I'm sure they did. I bought Sims 4. I think that's the newest one, right? Sims 4?
Yeah, I bought Sims 4, and I bought, like, I want to say one of the expansion packs before I was like, why am I spending $40 buying 3 couches?
You make a good point there.
Man, this game's really neat.
It's so neat. I want to talk about the upgrade again. So one of the things that he did is that he changed the game so items pop up more frequently. You get more items. There's cover in the game now. You can get more than 3 health bars, and the items disappear. They have a despawn. So, all those little power-ups that I'm picking up, like the clips for the guns, the clips for the SMG, and the hamburgers to restore your health, they go away.
So you have to pick them up at the time. Makes sense.
You have to pick them up. The problem I had with that is that it was way too short. Like, the amount of time you have to pick these things up is just minuscule. Like, it's probably 5 seconds total before the thing's gone.
And you just don't have the time to do it.
Yeah, especially if you got like 7 enemies, and these are all procedurally generated levels, so you could just walk into the very first room in the level and there's like, surprise!
And one of the things I seem to be seeing is, are you picking them up with your hand? The pickups?
Yep, absolutely.
So you don't walk into them, you actually pick them up.
Correct. You point at them with your finger, you have a finger on the other hand, and that's how you pick stuff up.
Wow, it's the first game where a pickup
Is a pickup.
is actually picked up.
Yeah.
Wow.
And not only that, but there are 2 modes of locomotion in the game. You can either hold the grip and kind of Superman your way around, you just glide through the level, just moving the controller left-right, which I really enjoyed. I think that was much better than using touchpad locomotion. Seamlessly at the same time have teleportation on the same controller. You can use either interchangeably, don't have to pick, don't have to choose, just use whichever one you like, because they're both there and they're both available 100% of the time from the get-go.
So the question has to be asked, which did you enjoy better, this or Quell 4D?
I think that they both have their merits. Quell currently is a much more full game. There's way more levels in it. This one's free, so there's a bonus selling point right there for that game, because it's $0. Can't go wrong with that.
True enough.
Quell is the better game in as far as how much you can do in it. Now, this one is made by one person in their spare time, and development actually stopped on it for quite a while because the guy's Vive wand broke.
Oh.
So he couldn't even, for months he didn't even develop the game. This new update just came out, still free. But I'm going to say that I like the moving and shooting in this better than I did in Quell 4D, but they're very similar.
Because when you're talking about the Supermaning kind of thing, Quell had that stick that you would hang out in front of your slime.
Your universal slime mount, I think.
Is it kind of like that?
It is exactly like that, but there's no mount there. I called it Supermaning, because that's what it feels like, You're kind of leading yourself with one hand.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to stick it out in front of you, and it doesn't change the speed at which you move, although I would say that that's something that they should add to the game. Allow me to change my locomotion speed.
You did say that you liked that in Quell too, so is that perhaps your favorite locomotion now?
I'm going to say yeah. That is absolutely my favorite locomotion style, is the Superman style.
That's crazy.
That all depends on if you can get a game like that where you don't have to bind something to that button. And with how few buttons we have on our Vive controllers, that's not exactly going to happen all the time.
Well, once we get our Vive 2 controllers, we should be fine.
You mean the new Vive Touch controllers that they're coming out with?
Yeah, that should be coming out this year.
It better.
According to Gabe Newell, but I mean, what does he know?
Yeah, right. So, what do you think of the game?
It looks super cool. It definitely is reminiscent of Quell, simply because both of them were actually remarkably reminiscent of Doom and Wolfenstein. And this is that. It actually, I don't know maybe this one wouldn't make me as ill as Quell did, because the art style has a little bit of shading and depth and texture like that, whereas Quell was definitely, for me, much flatter, and it had all those bright prime colors and it didn't really have a whole lot of texture, so that one actually made me really uncomfortable. The carrot and the stick movement was nice, but it made me uncomfortable simply because it was still too fast. This, I think I could probably do pretty well.
I think you absolutely could do it pretty well, and I think it would be a huge blast for you to play.
It looks awesome. It's super cool looking, and it's nice to see these retro shooters really kind of, they were the beginning of the FPS, and they're the beginning of the VR FPS. I think that's great.
Now, I will say that the difficulty ramp in this is a little wonky, because it starts out at easy, which is fairly easy, and then goes to medium, which is really hard, and eventually you make your way to hard, which is basically insane mode.
But that's okay. I'm okay with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, difficulty should be difficult, especially in VR, where I can really be immersed.
I look forward to trying it out. Let me know in the comments what you think. Have you played Quell? Does this remind you of Quell? Does it remind you of Wolfenstein? Did you hate Wolfenstein? Are you 12? And
Don't forget to pick it up, because it's free. We're going to drop the link in the description below.
don't forget to pick it up because it is free. That has been Compound.
Big thanks to Not Dead for putting this out there for everybody to try.
If you like it, like it. If you don't like it, don't like it. Don't forget to check out the Patreon. Check us out on Discord. Don't forget to subscribe. If you don't subscribe, then you don't get to make our meaningless number go up by 1. And as always,
We'll see you on the next one.